Imagine this. You're sitting in your bedroom, lights dimmed, heart heavy with the weight of another disappointment. Maybe from love, maybe from life. And you press play. The moment Keyshia Cole's voice echoes through the speakers, it's as if she took a deep dive into your soul, pulled out the exact words you didn't know how to say, and laid them over a melody that hugs your wounds. That is the power of emotional resonance. That is the psychology of relatability. And that's what makes Just Like You more than the album. It's a mirror. In a world where pop culture often glamorizes perfection, Keyshia Cole offers something far more radical: vulnerability. And not the curated kind we often see online today, but the type that makes you flinch, reflect, and feel less alone. In this episode of Melodic Minds, we're unpacking the emotional psychology behind Just Like You, exploring how and why Keyshia Cole's honest, raw storytelling became a lifeline for so many. From attachment theory to emotional catharsis, we're diving deep into the psyche of an artist who reminded us that pain isn't weakness, it's proof you're still alive. Relatability is not just a vibe, it's a neurological and emotional response. When we say I feel seen, it's often because someone's story activates our mirror neurons, the part of our brain responsible for empathy. Keyshia Cole mastered this mechanism. With Just Like You, she invited listeners into a shared emotional experience where the line between artist and audience blurred. Her stories weren't distant or aspirational, they were lived in, painful, beautiful, messy, and psychologically, this is what makes her so powerful. Research in affective psychology tells us that human beings are wired to seek emotional validation. When Keyshia sings about betrayal, disappointment, yearning, or hope, it creates a resonance. Listeners, particularly Black women, found in her music a reflection of unspoken truths, and because her voice carries pain unfiltered, her relatability wasn't manufactured, it was magnetic. Keyshia's background wasn't hidden, it was foundational. Raised in a turbulent environment, dealing with family instability and abandonment, her narrative paralleled those of countless others who rarely see their pain articulated so boldly in mainstream media. Psychologically, we refer this to as trauma bonding through art. Songs like I Remember and Heaven Sent operate as musical memoirs, but beneath them lies an undercurrent of complex trauma and anxious, preoccupied attachment styles. When listeners who've endured abandonment or inconsistency in relationships hear these tracks, they're not just enjoying music, they're processing emotion. The album becomes therapeutic. Cole's ability to articulate abandonment wounds without judgment, shame, or pretense gives her audience a rare psychological gift: permission to feel. That's something even therapy struggles to offer in a world that tells us to get over it far too often. In a society that often equates vulnerability with weakness, especially for Black women, Keyshia Cole's emotional exposure became an act of resistance. She didn't present a perfectly healed version of herself. Instead, she offered her bruises in real time. Just Like You wasn't polished, it was honest. From a psychological standpoint, vulnerability breeds trust. According to Dr. Brené Brown's research, the courage to be emotionally honest creates authentic connection. Cole's trembling yet powerful voice becomes a vessel for that truth. She tells us not just what happened, but how it felt. That's rare. That's why so many fans latched onto her music like gospel. Songs like Shoulda Let You Go and Falling Out speak from the trenches of emotional confusion. She sings not just to be heard, but to connect. And that connection is fueled by a psychology rooted in shared suffering and the beauty of emotional transparency. Keyshia's relatability also lies in her cultural identity. For Black women, emotional recognition in mainstream media has long been elusive, often portrayed as strong but rarely soft. Keyshia carved space for tenderness, grief, rage, and healing all at once. That psychological permission to feel unapologetically was a revolution. Through a socio-cultural lens, Just Like You served as an anthem for the silence. Her ability to give voice to emotional layers Black women often suppress out of necessity, such as anger, despair, and longing, felt validating. It psychologically unshackled women from the strong Black woman stereotype and allowed them to simply be. Her music acts as an emotional container. Fans can pour their feelings into her songs and feel them reflected back, healing, raw, and real. The very title, Just Like You, is psychologically brilliant. It centers Keyshia not as a celebrity or idol, but as someone who bleeds the same. It humanizes her, and in doing so, makes her audience feel human again. This taps into what psychologists call parasocial intimacy, the one-sided relationship between a public figure and their audience. Unlike many celebrities who maintain distance, Keyshia collapsed that space. She didn't market perfection, she marketed pain. And paradoxically, that built trust. Her fans didn't just listen, they related, and in doing so, they healed. That level of emotional intimacy creates long-lasting bonds that don't fade when the charts do. It's why her legacy remains. There's a reason we listen to sad songs on repeat. They help us process emotions we're too afraid to confront directly. Keyshia Cole's music acts as an emotional catharsis, a psychological release. The more pain she expresses, the more we find solace in her survival. And just like you, every note is soaked in emotional residue. There's no emotional bypassing. She sits in the heartbreak, the betrayal, the guilt, and by doing so, she invites us to do the same. This isn't just artistic expression, it's an emotional blueprint for survival. Psychologically, this release creates dopaminergic relief. Our brain rewards us when we feel deeply and then come out on the other side. Her voice becomes both the storm and the shelter. Keyshia Cole didn't give us fantasy, she gave us truth. Just Like You is more than an album, it's a psychological safe haven. Through it, we learned that pain isn't a detour from healing, it's the map. Her voice didn't just tell stories, it held space. And in that space, we found ourselves. In a world addicted to filtered perfection, Keyshia reminded us that being broken doesn't make you unworthy, it makes you real. And that might be the most relatable thing of all. So the next time you revisit Just Like You, listen with your heart and your mind, because through every chorus, every cry, and every confession, she's whispering the truth that so many of us need to hear. You're not alone. I'm just like you.